With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Prime Minister Mr. Nadir Arbawi is on a working visit to the southeastern town of Hassi Mashoud in the province of Ouargla to preside over the ceremony celebrating the double anniversary of the creation of the Algerian Workers' General Union and the anniversary of the nationalization of hydrocarbons. The Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, Amr Taqjout, has stressed that the celebration of the double anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers and the nationalization of hydrocarbons was an important historic moment. The Speaker of the People's National Assembly in the Arab Interparliamentary Union, Brahim Boughali, has highlighted the importance of reinforcing the Arab action during the 37th extraordinary session of the Executive Committee of the Arab Interparliamentary Union. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed concerns at the increase of the injured settlers-related violence in the West Bank as the Israeli occupying authorities call for the annexation of the Palestinian territories. Those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. Good afternoon. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has chaired a meeting of the Council of Ministers. This report by Masoud Sharfi.
Following the Prime Minister's presentation of the government's activities over the past 2 weeks, and after listening to the Minister's presentations and speeches, the President of the Republic issued the following instructions, directives, and guidelines. Regarding university student grants, the President of the Republic agreed to an increase in student grants pending the next meeting of the Council of Ministers. On trends in domestic consumption of gas and petroleum products, President Tebboune stressed the importance of a prospective approach and rationalizing the consumption of the various types of energy, which the state continues to increase by adopting a new method of regulation and control based on in-depth studies capable of providing integrated solutions for preserving energy and promoting the development of various industries while investing in new energies such as green hydrogen and solar energy, one of Algeria's major potential. The President also called for a global vision to be created in short, medium, and long term based on scientific approach to preserve the purchasing power of citizens in terms of energy consumption by increasing energy investment and combating waste in all its forms. President Tebboune stressed that the evolution of consumption and services in the field of new communication technologies is a positive indicator of the development in general for Algerian citizens, hence the need to pursue investment and to move towards greater equality. Regarding the progress made in implementing the roadmap aimed at reducing the waiting times for ships imports and the processing of goods for import, the President of the Republic gave instructions for the adoption of new means of control to protect these vital infrastructures and to regain their important role in the development of the national economy. During the meeting, the Council of Ministers approved a series of decrees and decisions concerning appointments and terminations of functions in senior state posts.
The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has extended his condolences to the families and relatives of the 3 gendarmes who died following the torrential rains that hit the province of Ain Timousent. Caused by severe weather conditions and torrential rains hitting the province of Ain Timousent, they died after being swept away by the floods of Oued El Ababsa while carrying out a patrol on National Road number 101. Meanwhile, the Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Army General Said Chengriha, offered on his behalf and on behalf of all the Army's personnel his sincere condolences to the families of the late officers. In a similar move, the Speakers of the National People's Assembly and of the National Council or Senate also extended their condolences to the families of the victims. Entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Prime Minister, Mr. Nadir Arbawi, is on a working visit to the southeastern town of Hassi Mashoud in the province of Ouargla to preside over the ceremony celebrating the 69th anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers and the 54th anniversary of the nationalization of hydrocarbons. The Prime Minister supervised the commemoration ceremony, which was held under the slogan "Committed to the Development of Energy, Water and Food Resources," where he laid the foundation stone for the construction of a new refinery in Hamra Basin. The project comes in line with the instructions of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, Hamar Taqjoud, has stressed that the celebration of the double anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers and the nationalization of hydrocarbons was an important historic moment. Mr. Taqjoud said that it was a time to recall the sacrifices made by the war veterans and martyrs of the glorious Liberation Revolution.
In fact, the UGTA reminds us of many things. It reminds us of activism and revolution during the War of National Liberation. It also reminds us of the commitment made by the union's activists, which went hand in hand with the process of the country's development after independence.
Mr. Taqjoud said it was also an opportunity to remember the role played by the trade union organization in the post-independence struggle for independence and in the defense of the Republic and the institutions of the state during the Black Decade of 1990s. He added that the anniversary is an opportunity for the General Union to express its gratitude for the socio-economic achievements of Algeria in recent years, thanks to the strong will and courageous decisions of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. He held the wage and pension increase, the introduction of an employment benefit, the promulgation of special status for several sectors, and the extension of maternity leave, as well as the strategic projects that give priority to the working class, such as the distribution of a considerable number of housing units. Meanwhile, Algeria's nationalization of its hydrocarbons enabled her to become a key player in the oil and gas scene and paved the way for investment in green energy. Asya Bakar reports.
Since the nationalization of hydrocarbons 54 years ago, Algeria has become a key player in the world's oil and gas market, playing major roles in leading organizations and fora, notably the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC Plus, and the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF. Energy expert and CEO of Rana Drill Consulting, Shaib Boutamin, highlighted the significance of Algeria's sovereignty over its hydrocarbon resources, stressing the importance of cooperation among the world's major hydrocarbon producers amid the current crisis besetting the oil and gas market.
Yeah, I think this is a big day for Algeria, recovering its natural resources, oil and gas, and it's strengthening its position as a key player in the region, producing oil and gas. And I think many countries took Algeria as an example and took that path, and they really went to nationalize their natural resources. I think this is something very important. We are celebrating this day, and we have many challenges we are facing in kind of oil supplies in the globe. We have seen how the OPEC Plus members at the moment are cutting more than 5.86 million barrels of oil per day. But even that, we still have oil prices are $75, $76, $74 today. And I think we have to strengthen our cooperation.
Regarding the global vision advocating the energy transition, Mr. Boutamin pointed out that Algeria has a great potential in terms of renewables, which allows it to strongly contribute to boosting the energy transition.
Algeria has all the available resources to play a key role in the region, because Algeria is the biggest producer of natural gas in Africa. By the way, we are generating our electricity by 98% of natural gas. So the new aspect, I believe, at the moment is to invest more in renewable energies. So we generate our electricity from renewables, and we recover that natural gas to use it for the petrochemistry, and we can use it also for the fertilizers. I think this is the key. We have many resources on hand, so we can use natural, let's say, renewables for our own, let's say, needs, and we can really rely on natural gas for petrochemistry and our exports.
Let's recall that recently Algeria officially joined the Southern Hydrogen Corridor project, a 3,300-kilometer pipeline to transport hydrogen starting from Algeria and reaching Germany through Tunisia, the Mediterranean, Italy and Austria. The project reflects Algeria's potential in terms of production and exportation of renewable energy and green hydrogen, and the state's will to contribute to backing the energy transition global efforts.
The Interior Minister, Mr. Brahim Marlad, is on a 2-day visit to Spain at the invitation of his Spanish counterpart, Fernando Grande Marlasca Gomez. Mr. Marlad will be accompanied during the visit by the Director General of the National Security, Mr. Ali Badawi, and the Director General of the Civil Protection, Mr. Boualem Bourlaf. His visit is aimed at discussing bilateral cooperation in areas of common interest. The Speaker of the People's National Assembly and of the Arab Interparliamentary Union, Brahim Boughali, has highlighted the importance of reinforcing the Arab action during the 37th Extraordinary Session of the Executive Committee of the Arab Interparliamentary Union. In his address, Mr. Boughali emphasized the importance of this session, hosted by Egypt, whom he praised for its key role in supporting Arab causes, and condemned the role of the AIPU General Secretariat in following up on the implementation of decisions and strengthening Arab parliamentary cooperation. On the occasion, Mr. Boughali stated that this meeting is being held within a sensitive juncture that requires Arab unity and the consolidation of the role of parliaments as an effective mechanism contributing to the reinforcement of a joint action. He highlighted the Union's responsibility in defending the central causes of the Arab nation, foremost among them the Palestinian cause.
The Palestinian cause is going through a highly sensitive phase that requires a greater Arab solidarity than ever before to firmly confront all schemes aimed at eradicating the historical rights of the Palestinian people. These include attempts to erase the refugee issue, abolish the right of return, and tighten control over Al-Quds al-Sharif. In this context, we emphasize the need to intensify our parliamentary efforts to support the resilience of the Palestinian people in the face of the occupation, unveil its oppressive practices in regional and international fora, and work towards strengthening the legal protection of Al-Quds al-Sharif, the capital of the State of Palestine, while ensuring that its Arab and Islamic identity is not altered.
In this connection, Mr. Boughali stressed the need to activate the Arab Parliamentary Action Document to support the Palestinian people, which was adopted during the 7th Joint Conference of the Arab Parliament and the AIPU. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed concerns at the increase in the Jewish settlers-related violence in the West Bank and that the Israeli occupying authorities call for the annexation of the Palestinian territories. Addressing the UN Human Rights Council meeting today in Geneva, he expressed concerns at the exacerbation and violations carried out by the Jewish settlers in the West Bank, while stressing the importance of safeguarding the fragile ceasefire in Gaza. The UN chief highlighted the importance of achieving irreversible progress towards the implementation of the two-state solution and securing an end to the Israeli occupation. This came as the Israeli army intensified its operations in the West Bank, killing at least 27 Palestinians and wounding scores of others. And now the French NGO Médecins Sans Frontières has announced the suspension of its activities in the famine-stricken Zamzam camp for displaced people in Western Sudan due to fighting and violence. Amina Bourisha has the details.
The camp located in the south of El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur, is home to at least 500,000 people, most of them displaced by the war between Rapid Support Parliamentary Forces, RSF, and the Sudanese army, which broke out in April 2023. Following the attack on the MSF camp by the RSF on February 11th, the organization stressed that despite widespread hunger and immense humanitarian needs, the organization had no choice but to take the decision to suspend all their activities in the camp, including MSF Field Hospital. The camp, the largest in Darfur, was the first place where famine was declared in Sudan last August. The MSF Field Hospital, which lacks trauma services, received 139 wounded in the first 3 weeks of February, most of them caused by gunshot wounds. 11 patients, including 5 children, died. MSF's head of mission in Sudan, Yahya Khalila, said that stopping activities in the midst of the worsening disaster in Zamzam was a heartbreaking decision, stressing that the most minimal security conditions did not currently exist for MSF to remain.
In Germany, Friedrich Merz Conservative has won the general election ahead of the far-right AfD party, which has achieved its best results ever. Mr. Chalfri reports.
The conservative CDU-CSU parties secured between 28.5% and 29% of the voters, according to the polls broadcast by the public television channel ARD and ZDF, while the Alternative for Germany AfD captured between 19.5% and 20%, the first result of a far-right party in a federal election since the post-war period. The AfD leader, Alice Weidel, stressed at her party's headquarters in Berlin that the AfD had never been so strong at national level. The political formation, which was created in 2013, has doubled its score of 4 years ago. Friedrich Merz, who has every chance of replacing Social Democrat Olaf Scholz as Chancellor, has ruled out any government alliance with the AfD. Outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz emerged as the biggest loser in the election, as his party only secured between 16% and 16.5% of the votes compared with 25.7% in 2021. It marks an unprecedented step back for Germany's oldest party since the end of the Second World War. The Green Party, allies of Scholz's government, saw a slight decline to 12 to 13.5%. Mr. Merz will have to look for 1 or 2 allies to form a coalition. Under the German parliamentary system, negotiations can take several months to reach a successful conclusion.
With this last piece of news comes the end of our news bulletin. Stay tuned on Radio Algeria International.
Hello and good to have you with us in this fresh edition of Inspiring Figures. Today we'll shed light on 2 major figures of Algerian trade unionism, namely Aissat Idir and Abdelhaq Ben Hamouda. Aissat Idir was born in Jemaah Saharij in the province of Tizi Ouzou in June 1915. Of modest origin, he lost his mother at the age of 6 years, and after primary studies in his village, he received a scholarship to prepare the entrance examination at a school in Bouzeria, but an unfortunate incident during the test definitely closed the door to teaching. In 1935, he joined his uncle's family in Tunis and began his studies in law and economics until 1938. He did his military service in Tunisia and graduated with the rank of sergeant. Back in Algiers, he was invited to the competition to recruit personnel from the North African aeronautical workshops in Burj Al Bahri. He will stay there for nearly 10 years. He is promoted to senior accounting officer and is responsible for controlling the company's subsidiaries in North Africa. His travels allow him to get to know Tunisian trade union circles. He then dedicated himself to this task and was elected by his comrades in the executive board of workers in the public sector, affiliated to the French communist unions, and thought about founding an autonomous Algerian trade union organization. In the years 1946 and 47, he collaborated in writing articles for the newspaper of the Algerian People's Party, the Algerian Nation, where he was in charge of the section, the Algerian Proletariat. Suspected of having a relationship with a special organization, the army wing of Misal al-Hajj party, he was arrested by the French in 1950, but he was shortly released. Calling for a strike in the factory where he worked, the company dismissed him. He finds the position of head of department at Kokobat in the public works sector and joins the CGT union of the company. From 1949 to 1954, he led a group of trade unionists affiliated with the Movement for the Triumph of Democratic Freedoms, then chose to support FLN party. Arrested for some time for his trade union activities, he was released on December 22, 1954. Supported by the FLN, the Congress of February 26, 1956, agreed on the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers and appointed Aissat Idir as its secretary. For 2 months, he devoted himself to setting up the union and established links with the International Confederation of Free Trade Unions. Patriotic strikes supported by the union led to a massive arrest of its leaders on May 23-24, 1956. Aissat Idir is arrested, as well as about 40 trade unionists. Suspected of being a member of the Coordination and Execution Committee, he is tortured by the paratroopers of French Colonel Bijar, who did not, however, suspect that he joined the National Council of the Algerian Revolution. He is charged with undermining the external security of the French state. He is defended by lawyer Henri Rollin, senator and former minister of the Belgian government. On January 13, 1959, he was acquitted. On leaving prison, he was arrested by 2 gendarmes and taken to Bertraria prison. The efforts of his supporters to free him did not pay. On January 17, he was rushed to hospital for serious burns. The army first evoked suicide, denied by Aissat Idir, then the accident. According to them, Aissat Idir would have set fire to his bench while smoking a cigarette. Steps taken by the International Confederation of Free Unionists to transfer him to a metropolitan hospital for burn victims are vain. In June 1959, the international body alerted public opinion to the fate of Aissat Idir, but he succumbed to his burns in July 1959. His death raises a huge wave of indignation among the International Trade Union. His body was buried in the cemetery of Sidi Mohammed. And now let's rivet the spotlight on late prominent Algerian unionists. Abdelhak Ben Hamouda was born in December 1946 in Constantine in eastern Algeria into a modest family. After graduating, he served as a teacher and became later director of the same school. He quickly became committed in union actions, particularly within the Federation of Education, where he showed his leadership, dialogue, and negotiation skills. He then became the Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, UGTA, from 1990 until 1997, when he was cowardly assassinated. Abdelhak Ben Hamouda was a contributing founder of the Algerian political party National Rally for Democracy, RND. Ben Hamouda defended the Republic's basics and was contributing actively in the creation of the National Committee for Safeguarding Algeria in 1992. A big tribute was paid to him last year on the occasion of the 21st anniversary of his assassination, and unionists organized a ceremony of tribute remembrance at the UGTA headquarters and recalled the rich professional career of Ben Hamouda.
Hello and welcome to our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news.